Okay, today we're going to start quadratics. And I'm going to just do some introductions to a quadratic. So quadratic equation, this is the most basic one. Y equals x squared. Okay? So the difference from last year is you had an x, now we have an x squared. So last year's produced a line, and this year it's going to produce what we call a parabola. Okay, so let's graph this with a table of values. So let's go from -3 to +3. Okay, so if x equals -3, plug it in. -3 squared is 9. -2 squared is 4. -1 plugged in squared is 1. 0 squared is 0. 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. So we're going to graph this. So I like to start here. 0, 0. And I'm going to go here. x1, y1. x2, y4. x3, y9. Now I'm going to go here on my left side, -1, 1, -2, 4, -3, 9. Okay, so connecting these points is going to be a U shape, which I refer to as a parabola. Okay, so what are some things to know? The shape is called a parabola. It's a U, and it's not a V. It's not pointy. It has arrows to mean that's going on. For instance, the next point would be 416, and it's symmetric. Okay, so you can see that I could fold this in half, symmetric on each other, and it's symmetric around its vertex. So this is the vertex on this point. It's the most bottom point. Sometimes it might be the most top point, but that's the vertex. So it's symmetric around that. Okay, so when I graph these, I always talk about an over-up chart. So from the vertex, if you move over 1, you would go up 1. You see it? I could go over 1, up 1 this way, over 1, up way that way. If I go over 2 from my vertex, so 1, 2, I would go up 4. And then if I moved 3 from my vertex, I would go up 9. So from the vertex, if you go over and then you go up, that is your pattern of movement. Okay, and just like how in graphing lines you did a pattern of slope, rise over run, this is the same thing. Same idea. Okay, transformations. So we're doing transformations on y equals x squared, what we just graphed. So we're going to do an example. We're going to do the words, and we're going to draw it. Okay, so example 1, y equals x squared minus 1. Okay, so if I think about my original parabola, I'm just going to draw it over here. Okay, that's my original. So now, this is what's going to happen to my new one. It's going to go like that. So what happened to the U? It went down one like that. It just picked off the page and the whole thing went down. So what do you think will happen here? Okay, now that's going to make the whole parabola go up 3. So it's not changing shapes or anything else. It's moving, sliding itself up the page 3. Okay. Now, if I have this in brackets, I'm going to ask you this. What x value would make it equal 0? Okay, did you answer a positive 2? So if I put a positive 2 on my graph where the height is 0, and then I draw my parabola, what ended up happening in the shift is that it moved right 2. So this one's kind of tricky because it's your opposite thinking, right? Because you see a negative 2, but it's actually going right 2. So if I do this, x plus 4 squared, what do you think's happening? It's going to go left 4. So that's what it's going to look like now. Okay, what about if I do y equals negative x squared? So now it's going to flip down. So it's going to go like this. It's going to go 1 over and then 1 down, because you can see here I'm squaring the value, then I'm timesing it by a negative 1. So I'm going to be going negatives instead of positives. That makes sense? Okay, and then what would happen if I did a multiplier in front of the x squared? Okay, so let's think back to our chart. I'm squaring this, and now I'm going to have to multiply it. So instead of going 4 up, I would go 8 up. So what's going to happen is that I'm going up at a faster rate. So when you go up at a faster rate, you're going to narrow. Because you're going up faster. Okay, so then what about this? Okay, well this time you're going to go up at a slower rate. So then you're going to get, it widens or flattens. And the reason is you're up at a slower rate. Okay, that is the transformations.